Welcome to Transforming Teachers into Teacher Leaders of Mathematics. My name is Kelly Remajan, and I am a professional development and curriculum specialist with the Illinois Math and Science Academy. Additionally, I am Director at Large for the Illinois Council of Teachers of Mathematics. If you have any questions after watching this video, please feel free to reach out to me via email, LinkedIn, or Twitter. Now, to get started in this presentation, I really want you to think about what is a teacher leader. So take some time to reflect on this question, and I'd like you to write down your thoughts on what is a teacher leader. Go ahead and stop this video at this time and take a few minutes to reflect and to answer this question. Now, once you have thought about what is a teacher leader, I'd like you to think about two other questions. One is, what can teachers do to begin being recognized as teacher leaders of mathematics? And two, how can education leaders help transform teachers into teacher leaders of mathematics? And just to clarify, in terms of educational leaders, this is a general term. This could be principals, it could be curriculum directors, it could be superintendents, assistant superintendents of curriculum, it could be department chairs. Educational leaders, how can educational leaders help transform teachers into teacher leaders of mathematics? So please reflect on these two questions, jot down your thoughts on each question, and go ahead and stop the video. And when you're ready to proceed, after you've thought about and reflected and written down your thoughts, you can go ahead then and proceed with the video. So my definition, the definition that I use as to what is a teacher leader, has been kind of my model that I started in education back in 1996. And this definition by Katzenmeier and Muller from 1996 is kind of what has driven me in my career as a teacher leader. So three components that make up a teacher leader. One being lead within and beyond the classroom. Two, influence others toward improved educational practice. And three, identify with and contribute to a community of teacher leaders. So these three bullet points have kind of been my ultimate overview example as to what I was looking at as what is a teacher leader. Kind of has helped drive me in my profession as a teacher leader. So in this presentation, we're going to talk about what teachers can do to begin being recognized as teacher leaders of mathematics. And we're going to talk about what educational leaders can do to help transform teachers into teacher leaders of mathematics. So the first thing that teachers, leaders can do is to become involved in at least one professional organization for math teachers. There are various organizations, but these are the four that I'm going to kind of stress here to start with. Being from Illinois, as the Illinois Math and Science Academy is based in Illinois, and I have been an educator in Illinois my entire career, I think ICTM, Illinois Council of Teachers of Mathematics, is a superb organization that teachers that are focused on mathematics should definitely consider joining and becoming involved with. ICTM, as it's known, again, is a state organization. A national organization that teachers of mathematics should look into is NCTM, which is again a national as well as international teachers of mathematics organization. Additionally, the Benjamin Banneker Math Association is another organization that I would recommend teachers become involved with. The BBA advocates for Black students of all levels with respect to the learning and teaching of mathematics. So all teachers, I would encourage, become involved with this organization, especially if you have students that are of Black ethnicity. I would highly encourage you to become involved, as well as to consider TOTOS, which is another organization that provides focus on students of all backgrounds. However, with TOTOS, Math for All, it advocates for equity and excellence for, in particular, Latinx students. And so I would encourage you to look at all 4 of these organizations and become involved with those organizations, not just join them. And as educational leaders can help teachers transform into the leaders that they can be and should be by encouraging membership to these various professional organizations. If school leaders can help pay for the dues that are associated with these organizations, that would definitely be a helpful tool to get teachers involved with these organizations. Each one of these organizations also provide professional development for teachers, whether they're online webinars or in-person conferences. There's lots of opportunities, and each of them provides a great resource to teachers to become leaders in mathematics. Now, in addition to becoming members of at least one professional organization focused on math, I would encourage that teacher leaders of mathematics continue to learn and grow by attending and participating in conferences, webinars, and certification programs, and then reflect, try, and apply. So we gain ideas, but we need to also think about what we've learned, try them, make tweaks as necessary, and apply. And then again, going through that process again of reflecting, tweaking, applying. Now, if teachers are members of the Illinois Council of Teachers of Mathematics, they can earn PD credit for free webinars, as well as for any conferences, whether they're state conferences or regional or mini conferences that are located within districts or counties. If you are not an educator from Illinois, I would encourage you to check via the internet to find your state organization. Being a teacher within a certain state, I think it's very important for the teachers to become involved with those state organizations, as those state organizations should be looked to as providing input to state decisions. Organizations such as the Illinois Council of Teachers of Mathematics, again, offer free webinars. And the most upcoming one that will be existing or be available to teachers, it will be Flags of Africa, promoting cultures and connecting math concepts, which I will be presenting March 15th. Again, this is a free webinar available to any educator at all. The perk about being a ICTM member is that ICTM members do get PD credit, get CPDUs. And so as an educational leader, by promoting these different opportunities for teachers, teachers then can continue to work on learning, but also continue to gain PD hours that help them to keep their certification in their particular area. The Illinois Math and Science Academy, which I am now a part of, also offers online PD with CPDUs. And very soon we will be offering micro-certification opportunities to teachers as well. The National Board of Professional Teaching Standards also is going to offer national certification. They do offer national certification. And earlier in my career, I went through the process of becoming nationally certified, went through the early adolescence framework versus that's 11 through 15-year-old focused. And then the alternative for national certification focused on math is adolescence young adult, which is 14 through 18. Again, I focused on 11 through 15-year-olds, but either avenue is something that teachers should consider as they want to be considered leaders in mathematics. Now, some districts will offer monetary rewards or stipends. So for instance, when I was a teacher at O'Fallon High School in O'Fallon, Illinois, my district actually provided yearly rewards or stipends at $1,500 per year. So over the course of 10 years, it was for 10 years, that can definitely be a substantial reward, an honor, a incentive for teachers to go through the certification process. Additionally, national certification is also offered through certain universities as cohorts. So when I went through this process, I was able to acquire graduate credit through Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville. And I was able to go through the process of earning national certification with a group of colleagues, or it could be a group of teachers throughout the area that are all going through the process to be able to help one another and to make sure that they are prepared, they're doing everything they need to do, bumping ideas off of one another, and also having a direct contact with the person if they have questions. So again, national certification is a great tool. National certification used to be a 10-year certificate, but it is now a 5-year certificate. And potentially having that certification will allow teachers to not to have so many PD hours in addition. Now, educational leaders can share information with teachers regarding conferences, webinars, other opportunities. They can pay, not only could educational leaders and districts pay for teachers to become members of various organizations, they can also pay conference fees. And some conference fees will also cover the professional organization fees. So for instance, the Illinois Council of Teachers of Mathematics had an online conference. And for people that were not ICTM members, the price for that conference was one price that included membership, and the price for members was a lower price. And so being able to, educational leaders be able to budget, if you have PD, a PD budget, being able to incorporate potentially conference fees with becoming members, membership fees is a good way to encourage your teachers to become leaders within the mathematics community. Educational leaders can provide substitutes for teacher learning during the day. However, in our time of difficulty of having substitutes, it also is encouraged for educational leaders and districts to budget for teacher stipends to encourage learning outside of the school day, whether it's in person or online PD. I think it's very important that if teachers are going to do this outside of their workday, that they are compensated for their actions. Monetary awards, as I mentioned earlier, for teachers is also an incentive that educational leaders could provide. So once you go through the process of getting certified or going through a micro-credentialing program, that these teachers then have a reward that allows them to receive recognition, a title, as well as a monetary reward as well, or a stipend for their efforts. Now, in addition to going to conferences, I highly encourage teacher leaders to lead and present within the school, within a department, or at a conference or a webinar. Teacher leaders share their resources. They can be part of curriculum initiatives. They can lead meetings. I would encourage leaders, teacher leaders of mathematics, to investigate calls for proposals from organizations. A lot of organizations are going to have certain strands that they're looking for, certain topics that they're looking for a particular conference. If there are online conferences, a lot of times teachers can record their presentation. If they're unable to attend a conference live, virtually live, being able to have a presentation, record it, and submit it that way is a way to share your knowledge, share your resources, share your ideas, so that the ideas that are working for you within your classroom can then transfer over potentially to other teachers as well. So investigate calls for proposals, or simply come up with your own idea, your own proposal of what you would like to present at a conference. Submit that proposal, and then of course present at that conference, or present your instructional strategies, your assessments. Share those things within your department or within your school, within your district. Teacher leaders of mathematics, again, share within the department, but they can also simply do this by sharing on a class website, sharing via a YouTube channel, sharing via Twitter, LinkedIn, so on. Teacher leaders create and share through a class website or a blog that has public visibility. If a teacher doesn't have access to creating a website because their school doesn't provide teacher pages, I would highly encourage you to consider using Wix.com. It's a free website creator. It's actually pretty easy to make. And then you can share that link to your website on the teacher directory or through your district webpage. Now, your webpage could have info that is password protected, or it could be shared only with students or families, but it's important to have a public website. So many times, if teachers do have websites, sometimes it's only available to students, and maybe they only have access to it through Google Classroom or through potentially Canvas or Moodle. These are other learning management systems, but those particular learning management systems would only be accessible by students or even potentially by parents. And it's important to have a digital footprint, a professional digital footprint. Teacher leaders of mathematics should have that. And again, having the ability to simply share a link to teachers, other teachers, to parents, to students who may be unfamiliar or unable to access the teacher resources through the school's learning management system is very important. One particular example that you can take a look at is the website of Reggie Duncan, who is a 5th grade teacher in Mascoutah, Illinois. He is a presidential award winner, and he actually was, prior to me taking on the director at large position for the Illinois Council of Teachers of Mathematics, he was in my position previously, and he's actually the one who encouraged me to consider running for this elected position as well. So I'd encourage you taking a look at his webpage, and when you look at his webpage, see what there's information about him. There's also an opportunity to connect then password protected information, but also within this webpage, there are resources, opportunities for students that is shared with parents as well, that students that are interested in math and science, they have access to opportunities in one site. Teacher leaders of mathematics, again, share their information. I would highly encourage having a professional Twitter account as well as a LinkedIn account. Teachers can create videos via TikTok or YouTube to explain topics, and they can share these videos via links on their website. I like to use OneNote, through emails. Some teachers will have a YouTube channel. Now, I have a private YouTube channel. I am able to share links to students, and I try to focus on what it is teachers, whether it's teachers, students, or parents, particular links to videos. And so they can focus on what is actually pertaining to what we're talking about. So again, my YouTube is private, but some teacher leaders have public YouTube channels. And so if you search a particular topic, then your YouTube channel might come up because other people, other teachers, other students are searching for a particular topic that maybe you have videos on, whether it's a lesson or a particular topic. Those YouTube videos can help explain to students what it is you're teaching in your classroom. A lot of students, even if we're not doing remote teaching and learning, having a YouTube video and being able to share a link to students that are absent, they can then watch a video of your lesson. And so it might take more time initially to create videos. If you have videos that highlight certain lessons, certain topics, then you have these videos as part of resources for students for this year or beyond. One particular Twitter example is Howie. Howie is an education professor and a Twitter TikTok video explainer. And Howie Wah is a fantastic person to take a look at in terms of what he does, what kind of videos. You could simply follow him on Twitter as an educational leader, following certain people on Twitter or LinkedIn or following certain organizations can really help with ideas, help with strategies, and you could also share your ideas and your strategies through those means as well. Now, educational leaders helping to transform teachers can visit classrooms to discover the strengths of teachers. A lot of times educational leaders, I know, are busy just like teachers are, but it's really important, I think, to visit classrooms and to discover what's happening in those classrooms, discover the strengths of teachers, and to plan time within meetings and professional development for teachers to lead and to share on specific topics or areas of expertise. Educational leaders can provide a website or advocate for an actual school or district website that readily identifies math teachers with links to teacher contacts and teacher web pages. A lot of times if you go to a school or a district website, you can easily find the administrators. You can find a picture of the administrator, their contact information. But a lot of times I find that teachers are not as easy to be found within a school's webpage. And so having a directory which has not just teachers listed, but having the teacher of mathematics. So a mathematics teacher is the title. That allows teachers to start to be recognized as leaders. We need to set ourselves apart. And so labeling not just teachers within a directory, but labeling the specific subjects that teachers are experts of on class web pages, on district web pages, and having links to the web pages of those experts. It does definitely helps to validate that there are leaders of mathematics. Also, providing training to teachers on creating a class or teacher webpage. Again, in my research, I've found that not very many schools provide this in terms of making the teachers list it and have opportunities for their web pages to be easily viewed by the public. Again, these are professional web pages. Educational leaders can transform teachers by encouraging those teachers to present and co-present at webinars or conferences. Being able to encourage teachers to work together to present might alleviate some of the the fear of presenting, maybe the first time, but getting teachers used to presenting within the school, within professional development workshops within your district. It's if teachers are encouraged and teachers are asked to share their expertise, it definitely makes them stand out as being educational leaders. Teacher leaders of mathematics, it's definitely recommended to observe classrooms across all levels, mentor new teachers, teach a methods course at a local university. There's lots of different ways that teacher leaders of mathematics can be recognized as such. So I did a lesson with catapults with ninth graders where we were doing different activities. We actually used the catapult, we collected data, we were talking about adding integers, positive, negative integers. And so that activity, which was at ninth grade, I observed students at the preschool level. And then after observing students, I actually modified my lesson and worked with a preschool teacher to do an activity that utilized catapults, that focused on mathematics and collecting data. It was different concepts, but it was still math related. And it allows teacher leaders of mathematics to see students at different levels. What works, what doesn't work. How can I take what I've learned by watching preschoolers and help me to be more effective at the high school level, and to learn how students at those earlier grades are learning. And so observing classrooms, taking what we learn and modifying it to fit the grade level that we're doing, it definitely makes a difference in our teaching. In addition, besides observing classrooms, teacher leaders can mentor. As I talked about, I kind of worked with a preschool teacher. You could work with a science teacher. You could work with simply another math teacher and mentor that teacher, sharing your knowledge, sharing your expertise, and helping them, becoming like an instructional partner with them. You could teach a methods course at a local university. I did that at McKendree University, and I found that so informative in terms of how to help teachers. I also taught math courses at a local university, and that was eye-opening in itself. Again, across all levels, what are the expectations? What are the skills that these students have? Because once you recognize what their skills are, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are, it can then positively impact your teaching at whatever level that you are an expert at. Educational leaders, transforming teachers, can help develop a mentoring program. They can develop or implement or allow the development and implementation of instructional partnering programs, or to develop a curriculum team, which is assisted by a supportive schedule. This supportive schedule could be flexible time, common planning, release time, being creative in terms of how we do things, whether it's during the school day, or as I mentioned earlier, developing this time after school or in the summertime that's supported with stipends that allow for the time and allow for the support of these programs to be created. Teacher leaders of mathematics, again, partner with teachers to develop instructional strategies. They connect curriculum, and they can work together to implement projects. In my role as a professional development curriculum specialist, I actually partnered with a 5th grade teacher, as well as I partnered with a community college. And together, the 3 of us worked with 5th grade students on how math and machining can be worked together and how things are made using the concept of math, as well as the creativity with design. And so working with those students, working together as a team, we were able to share our expertise, share our knowledge to really make an impact with students. Educational leaders to transform teachers. As I said before, they develop the opportunities for these partnerships to occur. Allow for flexibility. At the 5th grade level, there's a lot more flexibility when you have one teacher that teaches all subjects and has the flexibility to be able to teach to have a little more time in math for a couple days and not be so focused on, well, we only are going to teach 45 minutes of math today, and we have to do this and we have to do that. And so as an educational leader, encouraging teachers to be flexible, to allow that flexibility or that partnering, if you're at the high school level, being able to partner with another teacher. And so using that time together to do interesting projects or interesting activities that cross over. As you can see in this picture down below, these were images of the project that we did. And educational leaders, it's important to share what your educational leaders within your school are doing, your teacher leaders are doing, and to also call out those teacher leaders by name. Recognize what they are doing. Don't just recognize what students of your school are doing, but what students of particular classes and particular teachers are doing. Teacher leaders of mathematics recognize the efforts of students. I encourage teacher leaders to invite administrators, colleagues, and community members to your class. Provide opportunities for students to showcase their learning to a greater community, not just within the walls of a classroom. So as a geometry teacher, we did a project where students came up with ideas for new houses, and they designed a new house. And one of the ideas that a particular group had was, after they calculated the roof, they came up with determining how many shingles a roof would need. This particular group had an idea that the roof should change color based on temperature. And they were sharing these ideas with a local builder. And this builder was fascinated and so impressed with what the students were sharing. Having opportunities for the community to come to your classroom, or taking what your students are doing to the community, out to the community. And so we did an activity involving exhibits within a zoo. Students came up with ideas for a location within the school. They came up with models, and then they shared their models along with art students sharing their drawings. We had a little exhibit at the St. Louis Zoo. And so this is just one example, and there are lots of other examples. There are links that are available to you. The links that are provided are found at a tiny URL, teacher-leaders-of-math, and all of the resources that I talk about will be accessible through that link. Inviting administrators, colleagues, community members to your classroom, sharing pictures and info with administrators, and requesting that that information be shared via the social media of a school or a school district. I think it's important to have a venue, so whether it's your school or if you have a large school within the department, sharing what is happening within the classrooms, sharing what teachers are doing, and the learning that's taking place by students. As a teacher leader of mathematics, you can also send positive emails or text regarding student learning with pictures. I mean, so many times as a leader, if we don't share what we're doing, then the awesome things that are happening are not known by parents or not known by the community. And so simply sharing a picture of what the students did can offer parents and families the opportunity to talk about what students learned about. It also kind of validates what us as teacher leaders of mathematics are doing within the classroom. A great resource for teachers that would like to utilize emails or text is the blooms.com platform, and that is free, but there's also an extension that's available for school districts. But individual teachers can use this platform where they can send messages via text, via email with pictures, and whether it's once a week, every day, it's really up to the teacher. But showing parents what is happening, recognizing the excellent work that's happening by students and the learning that's taking place, validates teachers as leaders of mathematics. As I mentioned earlier, educational leaders that transform teachers publicly recognize the work of teacher leaders. They recognize by name and they share what teachers are doing via school media, social media, community newsletters, on the front page of the school webpage. They nominate teachers for awards. And through the Illinois Council of Teachers of Mathematics, there are awards that often might only get one nomination. And there's a monetary award for teachers that get that, that are selected for that award. So I would encourage educational leaders to nominate amazing teachers for organizations that such as the ICTM, or have your own district award system. When I was a teacher at O'Fallon High School, we had a Golden O Award, and I happened to be actually the first ever Golden Award recipient. And every year they would nominate, people would nominate colleagues, and they could do a little write-up on what this colleague is doing. And then there would be a selection committee that would select a Golden O Award recipient. Right here, you'll see an example of one of the Twitter posts that was shared through the school that I taught at. This, again, the school was very large. And so there was a grant that the school received that had its own social media link. And so this was through DODEA, and this was focused on math and science teachers. And so being able to share pictures, again, recognizing the teacher by name and sharing the community members that are also associated, helps to promote teachers as leaders of mathematics. Teacher leaders of mathematics connect, collaborate, and learn from professionals outside of math. There are lots of opportunities that exist in mathematics for teachers to learn. The teachers can engage in STEM-related events. There is a national camp that occurs throughout the United States called the ASM Materials Camp for Teachers. I went to a camp at the University of Michigan. I had to simply get there, but once I got there, there was a stipend. The camp was free, as well as they put me up in a hotel. And if your school knows about these things, maybe the school can also help with getting teachers to these nationally recognized camps that allow the teachers to become true leaders of mathematics. Other examples of events that teachers can engage in. This was totally, again, free. This was about 30 minutes from where I lived. I got a stipend, I got food. Everything was included, field trips for teachers to learn. And this was through the Rankin Summer STEM Academies for educators, where I was able to learn more about robotics. I was able to make connections with mathematics and to think about what I learned, how that can be applied in my teaching. But a lot of opportunities to learn, to reflect, and then to take what you've learned to the classroom. Another way that teacher leaders of mathematics can connect, collaborate, and learn from professionals outside of mathematics is to engage in Manufacturing Day or go to a career expo. And these events you can find out about if you talk to your CTE director for your district, your school, your county, CTE being Career Technical Education. And there is a directory, there's a link within the resources that I've provided that you can find the CT director for your particular area. A lot of school districts will have a CTE director specifically at the high school level, but there are directors that cover various schools within certain regions. So take a look at that and definitely consider Manufacturing Day or the Career Expo. by me going to these events, I was able to meet people, make contacts that allowed me then to learn, whether it was about learning about machining or learning about construction. Lots of great resources by connecting with people outside of mathematics. Additionally, you can engage in other activities. IMSA, spearheaded by myself, after I went to the manufacturing day and connected with Southwestern Illinois College, I was able to learn about machining, and then was able to, in collaboration with Southwestern Illinois College, to put on a workshop for 6th through 12th grade teachers where they learned how math is used in machining. So again, being able to connect with people and attend different workshops that might not be totally focused on math, but utilizes math. And so it's great, great resources. Another thing that teacher leaders can do is to shadow various STEM professionals. And I shadowed a crash reconstructionist with the Illinois State Police. And you can also do the same thing. If you want to reach out and connect with a crash reconstructionist from Illinois State Police, you can contact me. But there are crash reconstructionists all over the country. And I have a link here for you that you can access and search within your state to find a local reconstructionist that you can learn from or potentially bring to your class or Zoom, so your students learn about these connections and these careers that apply mathematics. In addition to the crash reconstructionist, I was able to spend the day with a local community organization that builds homes within East St. Louis. And so making those connections, again, allows teachers to understand how math is actually used in the real world. You could also take a non-math class at a community college. One of the most meaningful classes that I have ever taken, it wasn't in graduate school, it was at a community college, and that was surveying, where I was able to learn how surveyors use math, the equipment they use, the technology, and it also allowed me to have connections within the community. And so after taking that class, I learned myself what surveyors do, but I was also able to have a surveyor come talk to my students and be able to apply what we did in class. Then the surveyor was able to test. We were finding the height of surrounding trees. And so my students were able to use clinometers and trig to find the height of a tree. And then the surveyor that came and talked about his job, he also then used his equipment, his tools, to figure out the height of the tree and being able to determine if the students' calculations were correct. In addition, you can join a non-math organization such as the Civil Air Patrol or the AIAA. And these are organizations that have grants. They have lots of opportunities for teachers and students. They have resources and they have speakers. The Civil Air Patrol is a $35 one-time fee. The AIAA is a totally free organization. But the Civil Air Patrol, you have potential also to acquire actual workbooks, as well as drones or a flight simulator. So other equipment that comes from being a member. You can integrate math concepts with career connections by developing projects, whether those projects utilize your resources or use your knowledge from connecting with people outside of mathematics. In terms of educational leaders, they can help transform teachers by sharing the information and resources and contacts from the community. They can be CTE system directors, the community colleges, the local businesses, diverse organizations. Again, the educational leaders can provide substitutes if substitutes are available for learning during the day, or I would also encourage the investigation of using CTE funding or grants for teacher stipends outside of school. Title funds also offer another opportunity to provide funding. And if your school is a title school, then that would allow you to have those funds to be used in that manner. Some districts also have endowments that help with funding different projects for teachers as well. So educational leaders can investigate different ways of paying for the teacher's time and the teacher's learning, but sometimes simply sharing information and resources is the information that teachers need to be able to acquire the knowledge and the contacts that are going to help make connections in their math classroom. Teacher leaders of mathematics can seek out and apply for grants or participate in a funded grant or a fellowship opportunity. And those educational leaders can help transform teachers by simply sharing, being knowledgeable of these opportunities and share these opportunities for teachers, what they can apply for or simply be part of in terms of a funded grant or fellowship. The NCTM offers grants. The International Institute of Education offers programs across the world. In that particular venue, I was able to go to Japan, and I made connections with architecture as well as my geometry courses or geometry classes. IMSA, the Illinois Math and Science Academy, has acquired various grants through Boeing, through the state of Illinois, and by us acquiring different projects or different grants through the state or through other organizations, we've been able to provide professional training for teachers, professional development, as well as materials for teachers. And so Little Steamers was one particular grant that we were able to develop curriculum and train pre-K teachers on science, technology, engineering, art, and math connections. Math at Work was another one with the Career Challenge that was focused on middle school teachers. And Future Highways was a grant that was paid for by the Illinois Tollway that was focused on 7th grade teachers. So keeping as educational leaders, keeping our ear open to what opportunities exist. But once you know about different organizations, continuing to look at what those organizations can offer. The thinking kind of outside the box, the Humanities Council, whether it's through the state, the Illinois Humanities Council, or the National Endowment for the Humanities, participating in those, through those organizations, I was able to go to Washington, D.C. I was able to learn about design of state parks throughout Illinois. So great opportunities. Your regional office of education often has grants that they get and that teachers can be part of. And so I actually helped write a grant, a math and science partnership grant that was focused on helping teachers throughout 13 counties. And so those teachers, K through 12, were able to gain information, experiences, materials, and one of those activities was actually an aviation day for educators, where they actually got to experience aviation firsthand and meet lots of different people that were connected to aviation through different means. Simply, if you're not sure about your regional office of education contact, I do have a link that provides all of the different regional offices throughout the state of Illinois, as well as the point of contact that teachers can reach out to or educational leaders can reach out to. In addition, teacher leaders of mathematics read journals. They contribute an article or a problem, or they simply review articles for a journal or a newsletter. And educational leaders should encourage teachers to share their ideas with the greater community by writing or reviewing an article. One of the articles that I wrote called "The Flag Designs of African Countries" was published in the Lighthouse Almanac, which is a journal published by the Benjamin Banneker Association. And so different organizations have journals, and there are other journals as well, and I have lots of them listed within the resource guide that I've provided. Illinois Council of Teachers of Mathematics has a journal, the Benjamin Banneker, as I mentioned. The Association of Supervision and Curriculum Development is a national organization. They also offer a journal and opportunities for teachers to submit articles. Teacher leaders of mathematics lead within and beyond the classroom. And educational leaders that help transform teachers need to really consider formal roles for teacher leaders. And these teacher leader roles need to be supported by release time or part-time schedules. Some examples of part-time or formal roles for teacher leaders where they're in the class part-time and they're out of the class part-time might be an instructional partner or a technology coach or an RTI coordinator, a CTE math specialist, department chair, grant director, data analyst, a community liaison. Might be something that you've not heard of before, but I would encourage educational leaders to consider the strengths of teachers and consider the needs of districts and schools. And with using the leadership capacity of teacher leaders and using their strengths, these teacher leaders can make a great impact on the success of student learning and the success of reaching students throughout a school or throughout a district. Formal dual roles will retain teachers, and this is really important. We're losing teachers, and being able to recruit teachers and retain teachers is a need that educational leaders in particular need to consider. Dual roles provide teachers with growth opportunities. The fact remains that 60% of all teachers who left the classroom voluntarily have cited career advancement as the reason. And so understanding that we need to make opportunities for teachers to advance, but opportunities that allow them to remain in the classroom and for us to utilize the strengths of effective teachers. Dual roles utilize the strengths to help new teachers. 44% of teachers were found to leave within 5 years of entering the profession. And so utilizing teacher leaders in dual roles can utilize their strengths and help new teachers, mentor those new teachers, or create instructional partnerships with those new teachers. We need to help our teachers. And so utilizing those teacher leaders is going to become important, even more important, as the problem that we're having with recruiting and retaining teachers continues to increase. Teacher leaders, however, need time. They need release time. 84% of formal teachers with release time do not want to return to teaching full-time. It's giving them the balance that they desire. In terms of part-time teaching, 41% of teachers who left the profession cited a desire to work part-time. And so we could have dual roles for teachers, but we could also consider, educational leaders consider part-time positions. Some teachers just want to work part-time, and they have the ability, the financial ability to do this. Another consideration for teacher leaders is to be able to offer flexible scheduling. As a result of the pandemic, flexibility is now the #1 priority of job seekers, which also includes many teachers. And so we need to consider, how can we transform teachers into teacher leaders? How can we keep those teachers? How can we recruit them? And a lot of it involves time, being flexible in terms of how we schedule teachers, the kinds of opportunities we allow teachers to have, and the opportunity for teachers to balance their work and life schedules. I would greatly appreciate you completing a survey. Information that you provide me with is totally priceless. Thank you so much for attending this session. If you have questions at any time, please feel free to reach out to me via email, Twitter, or LinkedIn. And please reference the tinyURL link that I've provided that has all of the resources that I have shared with you in this presentation. Thanks so much, and I look forward to hearing from you.